What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG's back, and I want to talk about and ask you what your expectations are for this Leeds United team this season. I want to know in detail, and I want you to put it in the comments what you expect from the team, what you expect from Daniel Farker, because I want to go through a few points today from just a few comments that I've seen, messages I get on Instagram. And listen, if you're not following me on there, KG1V1, follow me there. And I just want to get involved in this ahead of the game against Plymouth. Before I do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course, drop your comments below. Thank you to William Morrison and Perritt House for donating. Super thanks. And the last video, much appreciated, guys. Thank you to Will, who's become a new member of the channel. Big up to all my members. Thank you for that support. And if you want to become a member, the link is in the description. Now, let's get into this. Now, I'm using transfer market here for a reason, and I hope people can just put context to everything I'm saying here. I'll try and apply some. I don't need the smart Alex to try and fill in the blanks with things I haven't said. Just go with what I'm saying here. You know what I mean? But Leeds United's squad is currently worth, according to transfer market, around 143 million pounds, 173 million euros. That is a very, very high value squad, only bettered by Burnley at 186 million. Even Sheffield United, who for me are one of the favorites as well, are only valued at 89 million. Now, these valuations, of course, come with a lot of stars next to them, because as you'll see down this list, what you value a player, Illan Meslier valued at 18 million euros, which is not, we know what they were kind of asking for. But when I go down to say a Mateo Joseph at 1.20 million, okay, we're never selling him for 1.20, but for the football manager players out there, think of it in this way. When you've got an asset that is like 15 million and you're thinking he's never going for 15, he's going for a large amount. Think of it that way. It's just market value, so don't pay too much attention to it. I'm just trying to give it a broad paintbrush here of what I'm trying to say here. But I've seen in recent times, even in my comments, even my messages, that it was a good point against Bristol City. We should just take the point, clean sheet, move on. But I can't accept that. And I don't think that we should accept that as Leeds fans. Now, if we're talking about Leeds United staying in this championship for, let's say, 3 years later, and we've got a depleted squad and it's looking like it did back in the Tongi, Brownie, Norris days, Luke Varney days, then I can understand it. But we're not talking about that Leeds United. We're talking about a team that almost made it last year, should have made it last year, didn't do it. Players have gone out, but we've replaced them quite nicely. And a lot of you have said that the squad overall is better balanced. And I kind of agree with that. Yeah, the Stardust may have gone with Somerville, Jorginho, but all around it's a lot more balanced. So for me, that's where I go with this, in saying we should be expecting more. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I'm speaking for myself here. I'm saying we, but we as Leeds fans at this stage should be expecting more than what we've currently had. And when I'm looking at, say, Bristol City and their squad value of 49 million, we should be little broing these guys. And listen, I know football isn't played on paper. You got to play the game, you know, but you should be expecting to win these games. And even in the context of the Bristol City game, which I know nobody wants to talk about because it was just such a drab match, but going towards the end of the game, say the last 20, 15 minutes of the game, 15, 20 minutes, we should be then on the front foot, putting everything on Bristol City, everything. And we didn't do that. We were quite safe. And if we're being real, it almost felt like we were content with a point, and we should never be content with a point against Bristol City, who had injuries themselves. This should have been a routine 2-0 win, move on to Plymouth, and we keep going on, getting W's on the way. That's how you get promoted. And I just feel at times, we know with the manager that we have, he's very, very risk averse. We know that. But sometimes you've got to take that handbrake off and apply pressure. And I don't think we did that enough to a team like Bristol City. And it's not the first time this season. And when you look at, you know, Daniel Farker, you know, some of his comments after the game, and just one in particular saying we were the better side, that means nothing to me. I've said it before. We can absolutely stink up the joint and leave with 3 points. I would much prefer that than being the better side and coming away with a point, or, you know, or you know, it just does. I would just prefer to win the game. I don't care how. Performances do matter, especially at this stage of the season, but you should be winning these kind of games. That's how you get promoted. And when you there's always a way to do it. And I don't feel we did enough against Bristol City to get the win. And hopefully going forward, we can try and amend that because we need to. We've seen far too many of these games from Leeds in the championship that have cost us points. And when you look at the table, very early still, we know, very early, but Sunderland are finding a way. You know, they're finding a way. They've won 9 out of their 12 games. That's what I'm expecting Leeds to do. You know, you could say about Burnley, I mentioned their squad value earlier, but hey, if we're going back to last season and some of the stuff that some of the fans said, and even Daniel Farker said, well, they just recently got relegated. There was a lot of turmoil towards the end of the season. There'll be a bit of teething problems. So if we're going on that basis, then Burnley are going through their teething problems, and maybe they figure it out come the end of the season, by the end of the season, I should say. But they're recently relegated. We've got a bulk of this team from last year. And even the players that have left, according to Angus Kinnear himself from his own mouth, he said that Danny Farker said, you need to be prepared in the summer for Jorginho, Somerville, and Archie to go. You've got to be prepared for that. So for me, that's why I say there's no excuses. We did recruit well, even though some of them came towards the end of the window. But I think we could have done a little bit better. But I've already made my stance clear on the transfer window. But it should still be more than enough at this level. And need I remind you? Listen, there's some people that won't rate any of these players, and that's fine. But all I'll say to those people is, if you don't rate these players here, then if we stay in this league, you ain't gonna rate none of the players that we're gonna get. Okay, it's gonna be real ugly. All right, real ugly. But when you look at the players that we have, I just feel we should be doing better. I mean, listen, Melier is Melier. You know how it goes, people. You know, Strauch at the back. Verbo, we still haven't seen enough of him yet because, I mean, hopefully he'll be back soon. We will need him soon as, you know, the yellow cards are totting up. Joe Roden at this level, Furpo at this level. Not enough known about Isaac Schmidt. We know Jaden Bogle is more than capable at this level. Has been really good for us. In fact, Sam Byram backup, Ethan Ampadu, unfortunate midfield injury, Gruev also, but you know, 2 players that pretty much get into nearly every other championship team, if not all of them. Guilavogui, who's new here, Tanaka, who's been a revelation since he's come. Hopefully, there's more to come from him. Rothwell, an experienced head at this level. Joel Peru, before he came here, 20 plus goals in two seasons. We get the best attacking player in, and we don't utilize him properly, but we're seeing, more of him now. Brendan Aronson, who I agree. One thing I will agree with Angus Kinnear is if he was bought freshly, I think people would appreciate him a bit more, but, there's still probably a bit of healing for some of you guys to do for him. Okay. And then, going down the list, Nonto, James, Mateo Joseph, even Gelhart if he was used, but Manor Solomon. When I'm talking about making differences, we are bringing on a £50,000 a week player here, not any old championship player here. And I hope people are looking outside of the scope of just watching Leeds United. It's not. If you only watch Leeds United, then your world is going to be very small. You need to look around the championship and think, whoa, they don't have even a quarter of what we've got in our team. They've got nowhere near what we've got in this current squad. But I feel like people that just watch Leeds United think that this is it and they could be better at this level. Ramazani included as well. Hopefully he comes back soon. Dan James, people. These are quality players at this level, and I feel we should be doing a lot better. And I think it's okay that if you're disappointed with a point against Bristol City, I think that is more than fine. Our championship record should be better than what it is right now. And listen, it's early. There's still time. I do believe we will go on a winning run at some stage. I think the squad is just too good to not do so. But what are your expectations? Are you expecting top 2 from this team? Or do you feel we're just a playoff team? I even go to drop points. We know the one against Portsmouth. We should have handled them at home. We know what happened at Sunderland, clanger from the goalkeeper. The West Brom game, we shouldn't be settling or going to West Brom hoping not to lose. That was terrible. I just feel that we could be doing more, people. And that's my main point from the video today. But I just want to know what your expectations are at this point. And obviously, we'll discuss this through the international break when we've played a couple more games. But I just want the expectations to be raised a bit. Be disappointed that we didn't beat Bristol City. You got to be disappointed. But listen, people, that is it for the video today. Please drop your comments below, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out.